Hi, welcome to your mind-body connection. My name is Xandra, and as always, I am grateful that you are here. So this practice is all about connecting to our core strength. And I think there's a tendency when we think about core work to bring a strong focus into the front abdominals, which is great, but it's also important to remember that the core is a full container of muscles around you. So not just your abs, but also your side abdominals, your obliques, your low back, and your pelvic floor. And when all those muscles are working strongly and cohesively together, not only are we able to move our spine more freely in different directions, but it also brings more stability, more balance into our bodies. And I always love to think about too, not just the physical, but the mental, the emotional side of it. So thinking of your core as the seat of your power, your inner strength, the ability not only to persevere through challenges with greater ease, but to also know when to soften, when to let go. And so when we can really tap into that inner strength of ours, that also brings more ease, more balance, more resiliency into our lives. So I do recommend a block. It's not necessary, but I do find it helpful to activate some of the muscles that we're connecting with. But if you do not have one, no worries at all. And we will get started lying on our backs. So as you come onto your back, just planting your feet firmly onto your mat with your knees bent. And just right away noticing the natural curvature of your spine. So with the natural curvature of your spine, most likely your low back is lifting slightly. So start to press your low back into your mat. Draw the tailbone down towards your heels. And as you press your low back into the mat, you're starting to activate your front core. So hugging low belly up and in. And maintaining that, now here's the option of the block to bring that in between your knees or your thighs, whichever is most comfortable. And then bringing your knees just up to that tabletop position. So if you have the block there or not, you're squeezing into your midline. And that squeezing in, start to lift a little bit more into the pelvic floor. Your low back is still pressing down into your mat. Low belly is hugging up and in. Breathing deeply here as you start to feel that full integration. And you might start to feel a little shaky at times as you activate and hold, and that's totally normal. Just squeezing the block, low back, pressing into the mat, low belly hugging up and in. Feel into the full container of your core, hugging into your midline, creating strength. Take just one more round of breath here. And then releasing that. Now just hug the knees in, feel a little letting go of all that activation. Now lengthen your legs up towards the sky. Just start to stretch and awaken through the hamstrings. Now bringing your hands next to your hips, palms facing down, keeping all that activation that we just created. Low back down, low belly up and in. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just lower the right leg to a hover. Now, if your low back starts to lift, you can always do this with a bent knee as well. And then lifting the right leg back up, lowering your left leg, lifting. And we're just alternating. So just start to go at your pace. But find the power in moving more slowly and steadily, right? So it's not how many can we do, but what is the quality that we're bringing into it? How connected are we to our core? Just checking into with the quality of your breath. You can link your breath with your movement if you'd like. The inhale, we lift the leg. Exhale, we lower. And you're maintaining all that inner strength. Just a few more of these. Finishing out one last round, slow and steady to build into our strength. And then just hug your knees back in, feel that release. now we'll make our way over to our side and into tabletop position, hands and knees. So that same kind of feeling that you felt by pressing your low back into your mat, now think about pressing low back up towards the ceiling. You're hugging low belly up and in again, so we're creating that full container, hugging into midline. Now curling the left toes under for stability, begin to lift the right leg up and back behind you. Level off your hips, right thigh is internally rotating. Now check in to see if you're kind of dumping the belly, the front ribs down. Bring your left hand to the belly, to the ribs, hug up and in. So maintain the strength of your core. Now adding in some balance. So spinal balance, helping to strengthen our low back. Again, part of the core. Now adding movement, doing your best to find your balance. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen back out. Exhale, elbow to knee. 3 more times, just move with your breath here. And when we breathe deeply, it allows us to move a little bit more slowly and mindfully, and we feel into all of the activation that we're creating. So just finishing out, and then switching sides. If you need to take a little break, kind of roll the wrists a little bit, you can always do that. And then coming into left leg lifting, pressing back through the heel. So feeling that internal rotation of your thigh. And then using your right hand just to check in, right? How active are you within your center? And then reaching your right arm forward, keep gazing down at one point. Feel into the length, the space here. Now adding on, take a deep breath in. Elbow to knee, exhale. Lengthen back out. And then hug back in. Inhale, create space. Exhale, create strength. So finishing out your last few here, feeling into the transitions as much as the pose. And then release. Again, you can sit back onto the heels, maybe even a child's pose feels good right now. So as much as we're tapping into our strength, we're also feeling into the softening, the letting go, and the release as well. Now making your way up through onto your seat. Here's where the block may come back in as we squeeze the block. So feeling a little bit into the movement of the spine. Okay, so grabbing onto the backs of your legs, and we're feeling, again, this action of hugging low belly up and in, creating that core connection. So take a deep inhale, lift up through the chest, and then as you exhale, we're rounding out the back, so creating that C-shape curvature. And then lifting back up, straighten out the back, relax the shoulders, and then again, lowering. Now, when you squeeze the block, or if you're just squeezing the legs together, you're feeling into that engagement, that lifting up of the pelvic floor, connecting you into your frontal core muscles as well. Let's just do a couple more. Just feeling the rounding as we lower, the lengthening as we lift. All right, making our way now into boat pose. So we're hugging into the midline, whether we have the block or not, and then arms are reaching forward. Now interlace all fingers but your index. If you ever need support here, drop the heels. Take a deep inhale breath. Now exhale, twist to the right. So feeling into our side abdominals here. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. So again, it's not always easy to move slowly and steadily through these strengthening exercises, but it allows us to be more mindful with how we feel, not just within the pose, but transitioning through it. And as we move more slowly, our muscles are having to work a little bit harder, tapping into our strength. One of our big intentions of this class. All right, let's finish out from side to side. If you're shaky, again, that's totally normal. You got this. Come back through center. Hold here or grab hold to help lift through the chest. So we want that nice long spine here, low belly up and in, squeeze, 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 and then let it go. Soles of the feet together, just bow down, feel the release. Again, strength just isn't all about building into our power, pushing through it, challenging ourselves, but also knowing when to soften, when to let go. Now coming up through, back into our tabletop position and into our plank. So strong plank pose, great just to hold here, right? You can just hold and really feel into your strength. You can drop the knees at any time for more support. But as you come into it, shoulders are over wrist, heels are pressing back, crown of head is forward. We don't want our hips too high or too low. So right in that in between. And that requires that full container of your core strength. So we're just holding here for a little bit of time. So if you feel like you're collapsing into your shoulders, press firmly into your palms. Feel the shoulder blades move slightly away from your spine. So there's like this little rounding in the upper back. Just a couple more deep breaths. I'm right there with you, trying to breathe deep through it. And then relax. So you can just take a seat back onto the heels or child's pose, whatever feels right. Now moving back forward into your plank pose, we're adding on here. So lifting the right foot to a hover. Everything is turned on, right knee to right elbow. And then step your right foot back. Lift your left leg, left knee to left elbow. Step it back. So again, we're just alternating here. We're lifting first and then hugging in. And as we move slowly and steadily, we are feeling into our strength, all that is activating, all that is getting stronger. And that mental component really taps in here. You got this. Just a few more from side to side. At any time you need to rest, you listen to your body. All right, one more, right to left. And then release, roll out the wrists, kind of roll the shoulders a little bit, let all of that go. And just notice how you feel in your center. Now we are moving into forearm plank now. So again, we're not only getting stronger in our core here, but this is a lot of work for the shoulders too, just like in our plank pose. So coming onto the forearms, your fingers can always be interlaced too. Sometimes that feels a little bit more easeful. Big toes together to touch. And then we're just twisting the heels to the right, coming back to center, twisting to the left. So this can also be done on the knees. Okay, if you need that extra support, give your body that permission to be supported. I think sometimes we think modifications are like we're doing something less, but we're just doing something different. We're practicing with patience, compassion for the self, for the body. You're just twisting it out. All right, last few, side to side. You're feeling into all that integration, front core, side core, low back, pelvic floor, and release. Let it go. Shake it out. Do whatever you need to do. Now we will move back onto our backs to finish out our core strength connection. So as you come onto your back, that block is always optional again here if you find that helpful. Bringing the block back into your inner legs. And then that same kind of setup we did at the very beginning, pressing the low back down into the earth, tailbone draws down, low belly up and in. We'll bring both of our legs up now, and then feeling just into the integration, the squeezing of the legs, pelvic floor lifts, low belly up and in, low back down. Now take a deep breath in, And then lower your legs just about halfway. Now check in with your low back. You don't want it to lift. Coming back up through with your legs and then lowering them once again. So if this is becoming too much, just bend your knees, tap your heels down. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower. And as we breathe deeply through this, again, we're slowing down our movements and we're able to rely more on strength here as we move slowly rather than our momentum, because we're here to get stronger. So just feeling your way through it. Again, you're just lowering the legs to that point where you can still keep your low back pressing into your mat. Just a few more. Try to soften through the shoulders, through the jaw. And then once you lower one more time, lift your legs back up. Reach the arms up and over, interlace all fingers, but your index, and then lifting up, squeezing the block if you have it there, and then little pulses to finish out. We're feeling more into our front core here as we move up towards our toes for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant your feet down, release your head, release your hands, and then lift your hips up into a bridge. Feel the release of the front core muscles, active glutes and hamstrings. If the block is still there, squeeze it. Relax the shoulders away from your ears. And then release. Lastly, we'll come into some twist here on our back, working into the side core muscles. So the block can still be there. You can remove it. Coming back to the tabletop position. Arms extend out. We want to ground down through our hands. Shoulder blades stay grounded the entire time. So coming back to that full integration, connecting to the container of your core. Take a deep breath in. And then knees fall just about halfway to the right as you exhale. Inhale back to center, slow and steady. Exhale over to the left. So we want to keep our shoulders grounded as we move in and out of our twist, just going at your pace. But remember, there's a lot of power in slowing down. And just keep noticing the feedback of your body, how you're feeling now towards the end of your practice. We'll just do a few more here from right to left. You're almost done. Stay with it. Finish out right and left last time through. And then we'll bring our feet all the way back down, hands next to your hips. Lift your hips up. Feel the openness through the front of your body, the strength through the back. And then release all the way down. If the block is there, remove it. Hug your knees in. Give yourself a much deserved hug for committing to this core strengthening class today. And then rolling over, we'll just come to seated. Bring your hands to your belly, the seat of your power, your core strength, a moment of gratitude for taking care of you, for tapping back in to your inner strength, your outer strength, feeling that cohesion between the two. As always, I am grateful to be your guide. Until next time, see you soon.